Hey everyone, and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. Want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out from Belarus, and today I want to talk more about Russia's ongoing fuel crisis due to Ukrainian drone attacks on oil refineries. I've got information today that Belarus is currently scrambling to ship as much fuel as possible to Russia to help bail them out from these extreme shortages. Let's go over this new story here on your screen. Belarus quickly ramps up fuel exports to Russia amid gas shortage. In September, Belarus quadrupled its rail shipments of gasoline to Russia, reaching 40,000 metric tons. This comes amidst a fuel shortage in Russia caused by Ukrainian strikes. So, this is very big news, and this only explains even further how bad things are inside of Russia, even though the Kremlin continues to downplay this and make it appear as if everything is okay over there. We have so many videos coming out all the time that shows queues of cars waiting in line to get gasoline, numerous regions of Russia being affected. We're hearing somewhere upwards of 30 or more regions could be affected due to this fuel shortage, even occupied territories of Ukraine. People wait several hours just to get a half a tank of gas because gas stations are also limiting the amount of fuel that people can purchase. And we know this is all due to Ukraine striking all these oil refineries. We had reports just recently over the last few days that approximately 50% of Russian oil refineries have been attacked by Ukrainian drones. So this really shows how desperate Russia is right now, calling on Belarus to bail them out. We're also going to talk about a major train derailment that took place up in the Leningrad region. We briefly talked about that earlier today in our last update video for the Russia-Ukraine war. I want to talk more about that because I have a feeling we're going to see more train derailments around Belarus because that's how a lot of these fuel supplies are getting into Russia. We also have a story we'll be covering about Ukraine as well, as Ukraine is going to be raising their imports of liquefied natural gas. Apparently, they're having a gas shortage now, also due to Russia doing the same thing to them, striking all their energy facilities over there. So, as I've mentioned numerous times over the last few days, this is turning to a war on energy. Ukraine is striking energy facilities inside of Russia. Russia's doing the same thing back to Ukraine, and both sides are heavily suffering. So, we'll be discussing that today. Let's go ahead and hop on over to a mainstream news report. This is on Yahoo Finance, and they are citing Reuters today. Reuters is the original publication that reported this story. Belarus ramps up fuel exports to gasoline-thirsty Russia. This is coming out today, October 7, 2025. You can see right here. This is going to be a picture of the Mozyr oil refinery located in the town of Mozyr, Belarus. Okay, this was an older photo of one of the refineries over there. It says Belarusian rail transported gasoline exports to Russia jumped fourfold month on month in September, as Moscow sought to tackle fuel shortages caused by Ukrainian attacks on its energy infrastructure, industry sources told Reuters on Tuesday. Several Russian regions have introduced rationing and have temporarily frozen fuel prices in recent weeks amid a scarcity of popular types of gasoline brought on by drone strikes, which targeted refineries among other energy installations. Moscow has also restricted gasoline and diesel exports. Russia increased fuel imports from Belarus last year as well to cover shortages. According to the sources, gasoline supplies via rail from refineries in Belarus to the Russian domestic market rose to 49,000 metric tons or 14,500 barrels per day last month. They also said diesel deliveries amounted to 33,000 tons in September. At the same time, gasoline transit from Belarus for further export via Russian ports edged up by around 1% last month to 140,000 tons. Apparently, they're starting to export a lot more oil as well, which is interesting, coming out to the port of Ust-Luga near St. Petersburg. It also says Belarus has used Russian ports for transshipment of its refined petroleum products since March 2021 under a cooperation agreement signed between Moscow and Minsk. However, such transshipments dropped by nearly 40% year on year to 1.17 million tons between January and September, according to sources and Reuters calculations, due to decline in refining throughput. Yeah, that's due to Ukraine striking all these refineries. Finally, it says Belarus's two refining facilities, the Naftan and Mozyr oil refineries, each has an annual capacity of 12 million tons or some 240,000 barrels per day, but they typically produce around 9 million tons per year or roughly 180,000 barrels per day. So this is going to be, hard for Ukraine to tackle this. If Belarus is helping them out, they can't exactly just go launch strikes onto Belarus's oil refineries, right? But they can strike the railway systems that are coming out of Belarus into Russian territory, and that's what we're going to discuss next. We're actually going to briefly talk about this story that I brought up earlier. Let's hop on over to X real quick from Kate from Kharkiv. In the morning, a railway track was blown up in Russia's Leningrad region on the stretch between Stroganovo and Mishinskaya. The explosion caused a locomotive and several cars of a military cargo train to derail, Suspilne News reports. Yeah, so Ukrainian media was reporting this today that allegedly there was some sort of rail car that was derailed over here in the Leningrad region up near St. Petersburg. Apparently, it was packed with military cargo equipment. I see this one's got like what looks like fuel cars attached to it. I'm not sure if this is the exact photo that was coming out from this event. I mean, there's been so many different derailments inside of Russia at this point. Who really knows here? I haven't been able to find confirmation of any photos or anything like that. So this could be just like a placement photo here. But yeah, we did hear about this major derailment, and this is not too far away from Belarus. So I was wondering today if maybe that had something to do with it, but I think we're going to see a lot more of that. So we're going to hop on over to a map now, and let me talk about this just for a moment. I'll show you guys where this train derailment took place at. So let's jump on over to Google Maps now. So we've got Ukraine right here. Here's Russian territory. There's Moscow. We're going to zoom in up here to the Leningrad region, up here where St. Petersburg is at. Okay, so we'll zoom into the town of Stroganovo. So apparently between here and just a little bit south to Mishinskaya, okay, somewhere between here and there is where this derailment took place. And I did follow these train tracks. They lead from Stroganovo all the way up to St. Petersburg. And if you follow it, it pretty much follows this highway through Mishinskaya all the way down to Pskov, which is this going to be the Pskov region right here. And I think it also continues on over following this highway down here to the border of Latvia, kind of in this area right here. I'm not sure if it splits off and it goes over here towards Belarus, but if you look here, the Pskov region, not too far away from where Belarus is at. So what I was thinking is I have a feeling what we might start to see is a lot of train derailments around these areas. So particularly the Pskov area or region, and then maybe even the western side of the Ver region and also Smolensk. We have actually seen trail derailments coming out from Belarus into Russia here in the recent past. We'll probably see more of that there. And also maybe even the Bryansk region. So I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of different, railways being destroyed and trains being derailed nonstop in these areas. Ukraine's probably going to try to do whatever they can to prevent Belarus from resupplying Russia with this fuel. So expect that to be coming here in the next few weeks and months. I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot of that. But now briefly, we're going to go over this report talking about Ukraine with these gas imports, okay? They're going to be apparently increasing them due to these strikes inside of Ukraine from Russia. Here's Interfax Ukraine. This is going to be another Ukrainian news agency or outlet. It says Ukraine plans to increase gas imports by about 30% due to Russian attacks, according to the energy minister. This coming out also today, October 7, 2025. And it just says here briefly, Ukraine is working to increase its gas import capacity by roughly 30% following recent large-scale Russian attacks on gas infrastructure. Energy Minister Svitlana Rinchuk said, "We plan, if possible, to boost import capacity by another 30%. Everything will depend on how quickly we can restore operations. We must thank our power engineers and gas workers. They probably restore facilities faster than anyone in the world. The quicker we manage to bring sites back online, the less gas we'll need to import," Rinchuk said at a briefing in Kiev on Tuesday. According to her, the Ministry of Energy is currently in talks with all partners to ensure financial resources for imports. So there is more information on this article down below. I'll cite it below this video in the description for you guys if you want to read more of this. But yeah, this really shows, this whole war on energy that I've been talking about, it's really going to affect Ukraine and Russia, not just Russia alone, but Russia's doing the same thing back to Ukraine. They're striking all their energy facilities. They're striking their gas facilities. Poltava just came under a massive attack recently in the last few days. That's a major area that stores a lot of gas needs for Ukraine. So they're going to continue to suffer as well. And I think this war is going to continue to escalate. We're going to see a lot of huge attacks on energy infrastructure on both sides. But nonetheless, what's happening inside of Russia, this cannot be hidden any further. The fuel shortage is continuing to grow, and now they're having to call on Belarus to help them out just to make up for these losses of fuel being destroyed at all these oil refineries inside of Russia. So crazy news, guys. Just wanted to share this data with you and get it out there. Let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.